So coming in with this is the Army Painter Fanatics starter box. Just picked this up, so we're gonna go right into it and review this and get a closer look what you get inside and potentially paint a model with it. So with that, we will see you guys in the actual part of this video. So we are back here, we're actually at the desk. We're gonna take a look at the Fanatics starter set. Just as a heads up, I bought this when I was with some friends. I wanted some of the paints, others I already have and I'm happy with. So I did give some of these paints away, so I don't have the entire paints. So don't take this as a full range review. A bunch of other miniature people out there that are kind of in the same circles like Ninjon and stuff and do fantastic reviews on this and all that stuff. So this is going to be more of a look at kind of general what you get, is it worth it, and how does it look doing a live painting. So with those sign of warnings ahead of time, let's get right into this. So when you open this, as you can see here, you get all the basic paint sets, so your basic color range. So if, say, again, I've talked about this in the last couple of videos and in that mega box set too, if, say, you wanted to start an army from Warlord games, like especially Bolt Action or Napoleonic, even though they use Vallejo colors for that stuff, they all assume that you have a set like this, with your basic colors, a basic metallic, a basic wash, and you would just add on to this. And those would be, for those who've not seen those videos, they might maybe want to quick just show us. It's kind of like these guys right here. So this is the, this is their quick line. Rapid deployment line for bolt action leads. They also do that. Paint sets for black powder, other games, armored stuff, World War III, you know, even Flames of War does their own sort of box. So a lot of games do a color range at some point, be it all the time or exclusively to seasons. So you got this on the back. We have this, the different colors here. Kind of explains what everything is. Shows you the mini. It says it needs to be assembled, but mine was just a resin mold. So maybe they do a half-half. Maybe half their stuff was built, the other stuff was unbuilt, or maybe it's just a legal discrepancy thing in case they start doing models that are unbuilt. But yeah, mine was pre-molded, like a Gloomhaven mini, stuff like that. I'll leave you guys here this QR code so you can scan it. So if you guys want to scan that, you can go ahead. There you go. The different colors. And a little kind of, let's talk about that. So I'm not going to open it because, like I said, I've already opened stuff in it. So we're going to go right ahead here and we're going to get right to showing you kind of what came with it. So starting with the paper material. I actually really like this new book that they did. You get a painting guide. So this is general overall, just what they give away for free at if you find a game store that has a paint rack of Army Painter, especially like their tools, which I highly recommend if you don't want Army Painter paints. And even if you saw the Fanatics and saw how they're so much better than the old Army Painter stuff, and you still like your Vallejos, your Games Workshops, your two thin coats, which has kind of become my favorite paint line. This will cover that. So you could easily replace any of the steps in this with those colors. And again, picking up their tools, Army Painter definitely makes, for your bang for your buck, makes the best miniature and hobbying tools out there. So there's definitely stuff that's way better in quality, but again, that's like super, super expensive stuff. So again, quantity, quality, price. Army Painter. But anyways, I'm rambling. So it has this really nice, like, glossy, hollowed, like, done shading, basing, and kind of opens up with an intro from the CEO of it. I would love to meet him someday. That would be great. Kind of like where to go, what's your paints, what's their tools. There's QR codes galore in here, painting stuff, kind of like warnings on how to use their stuff, color theory. Games Workshop did this a while ago, I think a few years ago at a White Dwarf when they redid their paint line again. This kind of explains things. It shows you even their colors, kind of like the difference between paint on and rattle can to show you that they match the same. stuff. They don't make this mug, which I wish they did. Army Painter, please make that color mug. You have your air paints. They do airbrushing. They even have a little code here if you guys want to see it. Again, other YouTubers have made great videos about airbrushing, but if you want to scan that, you guys can kind of see how Army Painter does it. They can troubleshoot it, so it's more like if you're having issues with your paints, you can follow their guide. But yeah, and of course, washes, all that stuff, and bam. You do also get a sticker, a thing of stickers with different colors on it, and the Goblin himself on it, which I will have pictures right here of the ones I kind of stuck them already all over the place. So you get a sheet of stickers. You're also going to get and I actually have this brush, so I can show it to you if I can. So you're going to get a brush like this. Now mine's named slightly different because this is a one I bought on the side, but you're going to get this brush in it. This is their base coating brush. The one they give you, I think, is slightly thinner in the bellow or the barrel or whatever, you know, like the center of the bristle, slightly thinner. It is it's the same brush. It's just half the length. So it's so you're gonna get a slightly shorter, half the size of this, but same thickness. They call it the starter brush, but for those who may have bought your brushes on the side, it's gonna be this brush here. It's gonna be basically this brush that you're gonna get in it. So you're gonna get that, you can get this, you're gonna get the different paints, and I will show you at least one of each. They'll have lids here so it'll match. So you have your leather, your primer, and your washes. And this is how you can kind of tell color, wash, effects, and technicals. So your glosses, your blood effects, your primers are all going to be like that. And then the last thing you get in there is this guy right here. And again, he's kind of in that bones, like Reaper Bones line plastic. So I don't think he's pre-primed because the base color underneath is the same and it's got the oily plasticky look to it. So I think you do have to prime this. But again, there's that guide that teaches you how to paint him. And he is the guy that we are going to test today with the new colors. So here we can kind of see the difference. This is the two yellows I have. These are the ones that are similar in color, though this one might be a little lighter just in the bottle. But this is the Vallejo model color that matches the Demotic yellow. I replaced my original Demotic yellow with this and I gave it to somebody. So we're going to use these as the test paints against each other. The ones that are kind of generally known in the community as the sort of like default good intro paints to high quality paints versus the new attempting to be that. I think I have an old, ow, I punched my camera. But we have these two colors here. So we have Vallejo, which is what everybody in the community deems as like the intro to high quality paints, versus this one, the new yellows, which are pretty, those ones have issues in the original line, but they could still be good. Then we have original leather versus old leather. Now again, if you guys kind of want to see my talk about these, please watch my video about the original line of Army Painter paints. I do talk about some precautions you can do, especially when you buy a new set of that's been in like one of these boxes where they've been laying on the side. So go and watch those videos, just what you should do to prep when you buy your first sort of dripper bottle style paints. Some like the one that has the weird like Elmer's glue bottle lid and two thin coats I found have not been bad, but other ones like Vallejo and these guys have been bad. And Vallejo, actually, I've had issues, mini review here of Vallejo paints. I've had issues with the lid not fitting properly, like it's crunched, or like the spirally parts of the screw on, like the like the screw teeth have been weird or wonky or not molded right, so they don't sit flat anymore. So my paints aren't sealed. Had this happen to all my Vallejo paints except for my blue. So that is something to keep an eye on it. That's at least what happened to me. So with that, we're going to get right into the painting step here. We will see you guys when I switch the camera and go get some fresh water. Hey guys, we're back. So we got it all set up. We got our clean paint water on the side here and our nice fancy paint water from, I highly suggest following them. They're a gremlin of an Australian painter VTuber. So everything that we're doing here is going to be basically as close as I can get to the paint box here. So we're going to do everything with what's in the box, basically. So we're going to get our model here, and we're going to get a paint handle. Now these are the old Games Workshop paint handles. I prefer these over the new ones because they're just thicker, and I do a lot of stuff with my hands, so gripping and stuff hurts. So I just like to have the larger handle that I can just kind of rest it in my palm. So we're gonna get right into that. So we're gonna get right into the priming here. Make sure you shake your paints. These come with like at least 2 of the mixer balls in them, which with a bunch of my paints I've had to put up to 4 at max into one of them. So there's that to keep aware of. So these will be pre-balled for you, which feels like from what all the ones I've shaken is pretty good. I expect this to be messy lid. Yep. There we go. Gotta wipe it off. Yeah, this is going to be messy, so as you can kind of see in there. So you could theoretically just use the cap as your palette and just kind of pull from there, or wipe it onto the paper towel and it'll be there. But we're going to do it just on. We've shaken it. I'm going to use the bit on the paper towel first so I don't accidentally wipe it on my hand. There we go. So we're just going to paint it on. Now we're not trying to be clean with this. We're not trying to be pro. We're just applying the primer. And we're here to test the colors. So we're just going to be as quick as we can with it. Now the starter brush you will get will be a little less quality than the one I have, because it's meant to be just a generic brush to do all things. So it's meant to take the beating. It's meant to get you started. And of course, it's your first model that you might be painting, so always just be aware that, you know, everyone starts at different levels. Your first thing that you ever make of a thing or do is always not going to be your best compared to what you do in the future. So just be glad you got the courage to put paint onto a model and just take it a step at a time. Don't feel the need to rush to finish a model when you start it. You know, do it a step at a time. You know, maybe do the primary layers first or prime a model, and then, you know, take a break and then next day come back. We have him primed. So we're going to let him finish drying, and when we get back we will get to doing the layers. We're going to get into our first of the tests. We're going to do our browns. So old leather brown versus the new leather brown. So give it a good shake. And again, this one actually did not leak as much. So we're just going to squeeze it. All right, so this one actually came out pretty well. So this side is the brown. Now this is the old one that's been sitting on my desk for a while, that I've used a few times, has been shaken up. Just be careful. Again, it's just dried in the line. So it seems like the brown protects itself. Just being very careful, because these have an issue where if the tip gets clogged enough, you can have a backblast and it will unclog the it will unclog the thing. So we're just going to there we go. So we have the new stuff and the old stuff we're just going to mix here. So as you can see, it took a little bit more to mix it, but this is kind of like the colors we're at. So as you can see, this one is a little bit more liquidier. It's a lot lighter, whereas this one's darker straight from shaking it and streaked, covered quite well. This one, as you can see, I kind of dragged it, and that's with the brush being wet. So we're just gonna get this now. We're going to do leathers on the straps. So we're gonna get the original leather. As you can see, the original stuff isn't that bad of coverage, but we'll see what it looks like when it dries. And then we're gonna go in with the new stuff, and we're going to apply it to the hilt. And it's covering fantastically. Then next we're going to do the yellows. So Fanatic yellow, we're going to do again here. There you go. The yellow. This is the Vallejo yellow right here. And this is the Army Painter yellow. As you can see, it is a lot brighter. I know it's kind of hard to see with this palette, but it is what it is. But this is definitely a lot darker. This one's a lot brighter. This one's thinned out a lot more. Whereas if you clean off my brush, streak this, it's kind of, I need a few lines with this. The yellow from this, a lot more, it's still thin, but it's a lot more consistent. So we're going to get onto our model here, and I think we're going to paint, we're going to paint the bloom, the plumel. And we're going to use the yellow from Vallejo. We're going to use it on his neck scarf. So there we go. So we're going to go and I'm going to finish painting the base layers of this with the other colors, because this is the examples of showing how it works. When I'm done, we're going to go show you everything as it looks base painted, and then we're going to hit it with the wash. So we'll see you guys in that part of the video.
Using these fantastic paints, or Fanatic paints, have been really good actually. I've been a huge fan of Army Painter, not just because of their price and stuff, but using these paints and actually trying it like most YouTubers do, or trying to copy that scene, has been pretty interesting. Trying out these paints and, you know, doing a challenge like this, grabbing just a starter set to try what it's like for the first time as somebody who is like maybe a new beginner to paint, this is definitely worth getting if I can word properly. But it was a lot of fun, and sometimes we can get used to seeing so much paints and all these people on YouTube with just walls and walls, when in the end all it boils down to is those basic 4 colors. If you can master a basic starter set, find one that works for you, that makes you want to come back to painting, that's worth more in its weight of gold than a super clean, awesome hobby space full of thousands of paints across wall. And I'd rather have a fold-out table at a friend's house with my little Army Painter wet palette and you know, a tackle box of a mix of Citadel and Army Painter paints that I know and I'm used to, than going to a person's house who's like, my life is hobbying, and they have every tool, bell, and whistle under the sun. Not to say that's a bad thing. When you grow in your skill, your paints will grow with you also. And a starter set, finding the right one for you, not necessarily this one that I'm using, is the first step in that, in finding your product line, and that's how you're going to find the best paints out there. So when the cheesy line is said, there is no ultimate paint out there, they are kind of right. There's just slight differences in quality and how one paint color reacts from one company versus the same color from another. And with that, let's get right back into.
So I am back here. As you can see, I have painted him. Again, he's not the best quality. I've definitely spilt over, but I put in a couple of rules for myself while painting this guy. So everything that you see here, unless there was actual gray showing, I like a lot of it, or I missed a spot, I didn't add a second layer. So even if it was semi-transparent, I left it. So this is the paint done in that way, and it's pretty decent. Again, and even following that rule, these small spots I could show you is the paint parts that I went back and redid was down here on his cape cloth thing. Went over this part here on his belt just because that was I had some of the new war paint stuff, so I went over the old brown, and that was it. But like this gold is from the starter box. That only actually took one kind of coating to go over, and then the helmet was from a black. Same with these gloves. This glove I had to go over twice, but that was more of a me error. I went on a little bit too wet and it kind of did like a speed paint effect. So I just went over when it was dried and redid it. But like the boots I did in a single coat. The sword I kind of watered down a little bit too much, so I had to go over with a second. But like even doing that stuff, it still covered pretty well, and when it dried, it sucked into the areas. So that we're going to go into this and we're going to use the wash. Give that a good old shake, and we're just going to go all over the model with this. We're not watering it down, we're just pure from the bottle. That's all we're doing with this. Now, normally I would say wash it down, but the idea is we're testing this as is. So that's just how we're going to do this. Sorry for the fan, it's quite hot. So here it is. After I just kind of coated it on, we're going to go let this dry. When we come back, we will show you what it looks like done. This is we're at the end of the video here. So this has been the Army Painter Fanatic line intro box set. I gotta say, I'm actually very impressed with this stuff. Model came out great. As you can see right here, there it is. I ended it with a nice little dry brush just to highlight the black on the helmet, but this is basically done with only the paints that we showed in this video as the testers, or as the rest of the paints from this set. We're using the paintbrush that you would get in this box, you know, the equivalent of it. I have actually used the starter brushes from their boxes, like their mega box set, like I did with that review with Bryce and stuff, and they are literally just the brushes they sell normally, just renamed or slightly changed so that they'd be good at all purposes. Like their starter brushes are designed to be really good at, you know, learning how to brush control so it can take the beating and also do washes, layering, and basing. Yeah, with that, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna go and clean up, and yeah, enjoy the nice little panoramic spin of view of the model as we say goodbye. Bye-bye. Click the video. Click it. Click the video. You know you want to.